Thanks to the miraculous advances in life-saving techniques and equipment, a person who suffers a near-fatal accident can often be saved. We can dial 911 and receive help in a matter of minutes. Helicopters can transport the injured from highways and backyards to high-tech trauma centers. Even our police cars are equipped with computers. But there is something all of this emergency equipment cannot do, something people desperately need in an emergency situation. That something is a human touch, a shoulder to lean on. Imagine yourself suddenly confronted with the death of a loved one. Imagine yourself the victim of a crime or the witness to a horrible accident. What if the emergency personnel on the scene don't have the time to give you the support and help you need? Imagine your loneliness and confusion. Fortunately, many hospitals, police departments, and fire departments are now adding a person to their emergency response team, a person whose only job is to provide simple human support to those who are physically uninjured but emotionally traumatized. We call this special person a TIP volunteer.
A TIP volunteer is someone called by emergency personnel to see to the emotional and practical needs of the victim of some kind of trauma. At the scene of a trauma, or shortly thereafter when the emergency personnel are there, they're usually taking care of the emergency at hand, whether it's the fire or the crime scene or whatever. And oftentimes the victim or witnesses or family are left alone, wondering, they have a lot of questions, they're very anxious, it's a very stressful time for them. But because of the restraints of the situation, the emergency personnel can't see to those needs. So that's what we do, basically.
It not only helps the officers clear the scene and go do their job in terms of the police work, it helps them mentally and emotionally as well. We deal with very traumatic events in people's lives. And these people involved in TIP are well-trained. They're very supportive of the police departments and the fire people, and they're there. They're responsive, and that's the key.
On the morning of December 29th, Maxwell Hamilton and his wife Tony were taking their early morning walk when tragedy struck. While crossing the street, Tony was hit and killed by a speeding motorist. TIP volunteer Sharon Watson was there.
I went up and introduced myself to the officer in charge, and he told me what was going on, what had happened. He took me over and introduced me to Maxwell. I told him why I was there, and we just kind of started comforting each other.
That crash sounded so awful. And I stayed there. And that was another thing. I had to wait for the coroner to come, and Tony lying there for over 2 hours. That hurts.
I asked Maxwell if he wanted to say goodbye, and he said yes, he did. And so we had been standing in the street, and we went over, and he uncovered her, knelt down, and said goodbye to her. And that's a very trying time for anybody involved, is when they have to say goodbye.
Wayne Fortin founded the Trauma Intervention Program in 1985.
When we first introduced the idea of having citizen volunteers work on emergency scenes, there were a lot of raised eyebrows. Could you get a lay citizen volunteer to respond effectively and work effectively on an emergency scene? And furthermore, could you get emergency responders to accept a volunteer as an integral part of the emergency response team? The answer from our experience is a resounding yes, for two reasons. First, we've found that lay citizen volunteers can be very effective in working with victims in emergencies. These volunteers can, in essence, say to a traumatized citizen, I'm here because I care. I'm not here because I have to be. I'm here because I want to be. The second reason that our program has become well established and has overcome the initial resistance is because it works for emergency responders. It's available to them 24 hours a day. Volunteers respond quickly within 20 minutes to any sort of call that an emergency responder requests a volunteer for. Police officers and firefighters, although they were our biggest skeptics initially are now our biggest supporters.
I view the trauma intervention program as a salvation from two perspectives. Salvation from the family of those victims who have been traumatized for whatever reason, and a salvation from the firefighter standpoint that is an additional resource to us that allows us to handle that incident totally.
And now with TIP, everything is it's like the final pieces have been put into place. So our job is now complete, as well as far as the outlook of the city residents too, because they have that extra little step, that extra touch. It's real nice. We have to think a lot on our own out in the field, and when you know you have this tool that you can call when you need it, and it's there really quick, and it's dependable, I think it's just another tool that we get to use that's to our benefit.
The milk of human kindness is one of the most sought after ingredients in any emergency room, and that's what these people bring. Those memories of someone who really cared, who helped out, make that whole institution glow in the minds of those people for whom they were necessary. So no one wants to go to the ER, but if you have to go to the emergency room, you would hope that there will be someone there who will interpret what's happening and who will make you feel like a member of the team as opposed to a bother.
The TIP program, although innovative, is simple and doable. Every community already has the three basic ingredients: victims who need the service, a response system already in place, and concerned citizens. All it would take to establish this program is a community's commitment to bring those three ingredients together into a workable trauma intervention program.
As far as I'm personally concerned, the program for the fire service and for the police departments also, the sooner you can get this program into effect, the better off you're going to be.
The clients are very grateful to just the fact that someone shows up, just the fact that the police officer or the paramedic or the firefighter can say, I can call someone to help you. Would you like that? And they say yes, and by God, we show up. It means a lot to them.
She stayed all day and kind of did everything protecting me, you might say. That was wonderful, that first day with her, because that day was long. I'd give her all my thanks I could, because she really was very helpful to me.
The Good Samaritan spirit is alive and well in this country. There are many concerned citizens who want to do something about the crime and tragedy they see around them. These people are at the heart of the trauma intervention program. As TIP volunteers, they ensure that in our fascination with technology and equipment, we do not forget what people need in an emergency situation. A shoulder to lean on, someone to say, I'm here with you, and I care. This program is dedicated to Officer Billy Jack, who was a major supporter of the TIP program. Officer Jack was killed in the line of duty. A TIP volunteer was called to support his mother, Ann Jack, moments after his death.